Hello everyone, it's me Uncle John. Today I am going to read S Magic Tree House number 20 S5 5036 Dingoes at Dinner Time from chapter 3 page 25. Kangaroo Bigfoot can jump over a school bus. Kangaroo began stamping her feet again. What's wrong? Said Annie. The kangaroo froze. Grrr, Teddy growled from Jack's backpack. Some nearby bushes moved. A moment later, 3 dogs crept silently into the clearing. They were sand-colored and mean-looking. Teddy growled once more. But the dogs crept toward the kangaroo. Suddenly, the mother kangaroo sprang into the air, away from the dogs. Dogs chased after her. Stop, cried Annie. Stop. Leave her alone. As the kangaroo jumped, she turned in midair and landed facing a different direction. She then zigzagged over rocks and bushes. Howling, the wild dogs raced after the kangaroo and her baby. Chapter 4 Joy. Oh no, cried Annie. We have to save her. She took off after the dogs. Arf, arf, arf. Teddy barked over Jack's shoulder. Jack ran after Annie with the book under his arm. He ran over the dry, cracked ground, past scrubby bushes and scattered gum trees. Jack kept his eye on Annie, running ahead of him. He saw her stop suddenly. She turned and dropped to her knees. What happened? He shouted. Come, look, she said. Jack reached Annie. Beside her, in the grass, was the baby kangaroo. It was trembling. Don't be scared, Annie was saying. Then she looked at Jack. Where is his mom? Why did she drop him? I don't know, said Jack. He put his pack on the ground and opened the Australia book. Teddy jumped out of the pack. The little dog tried to snip the baby kangaroo. Don't scare him, Teddy, Annie said. Teddy sat back and watched politely. Jack opened the Australia book and found a picture of a baby kangaroo. He read, the biggest enemy of the kangaroo is the dingo, the wild dog of Australia. When a mother kangaroo is chased by dingoes, she may throw her joy out of a pouch. Without the extra weight in her pouch, she can leap faster and farther. She then leads the dingoes away from her baby. If she escapes the dingoes, she returns to the joy. Oh, Jack, Annie said sadly, I hope his mother escapes from the dingoes. Me too, said Jack. Hi, Joy, said Annie. She gently patted the baby kangaroo. He's so soft, Jack. Jack knelt down and touched the brown fur. It was soft, the softest fur he had ever felt. The shy little kangaroo stared at Jack with big brown eyes and trembled. Don't be scared, Joy, Annie said. Your mom is going to come back for you. Joy jumped away from Jack and Annie. He hopped towards Jack's pack, which was sitting on the ground. The baby kangaroo took a giant leap and dived headfirst into the pack. His whole body went inside, but his big feet stuck out. Then he turned himself over and peeked out at Jack and Annie. They both laughed. He thinks your pack is a pouch, said Annie. I know. Put it on backward. It'll feel like when his mom carries him. Jack put his Australian book on the ground. Then Annie helped him put the pack on his chest instead of on his back. The joy was heavy. There, Annie said. You look just like a mother kangaroo. Oh, brother, said Jack. But he patted the baby's soft fur. Don't worry, he said to Joy. You can stay in there till your mom gets back. Here, Joy, would you like some grass to eat? Asked Annie. Annie scooped up a handful of grass and gave it to the kangaroo. He munched the grass, keeping his big eyes on Annie. I hope his mom comes back for him soon, she said worriedly. Yeah, said Jack. He looked around the dry forest. There was no sign of the mother kangaroo. But Jack saw something else. Look, he said to Annie, the wisp of smoke in the sky. It turned into a big black cloud. Jack noticed the smell of burning wood was much stronger. What are those campers doing? Said Annie. Are they making a bonfire now? Or what? A feeling of dread came over Jack. What if, he said, what if in the distance a tree suddenly bursts into flame? You're looking at a wildfire, he said. Chapter 5, Wildfire. Wildfire, said Annie. The woods are so dry, everything is starting to burn, said Jack. We have to get out of here. We can't leave Joy, said Annie. We'll take him with us, said Jack. But what if his mom comes back for him? And he's not here, said Annie. We don't have a choice, said Jack. Just then the kookaburra flew through the sky, cackling. The emus raced by at top speed. The air was getting smokier and smokier. The fire was spreading quickly. Come on, said Jack. We have to get back to the treehouse before it burns down. Which way is the treehouse? Said Annie. I'm not sure, said Jack. Smoke hit the treetops. Jack's eyes stung. Forget it, he said. Let's just get away from this smoke. Come on. Jack and Teddy turned to go. The baby kangaroo hid his head inside Jack's pack. I'll catch up, said Annie. I have to get something. What? Cried Jack. But Annie had dashed off in the other direction. Come back, Jack shouted. Annie. Branches cracked and fell from the trees. Smoke billowed everywhere. Arf, arf. Annie, Jack cried. Jack choked on the smoke. He coughed and rubbed his eyes. The air was getting hotter. He had no choice. He had to run. Arf, arf, Teddy barked from somewhere ahead. Hurry, Annie, Jack called helplessly. Then he took off after Teddy. He stumbled blindly through the brush. All he could do was follow the sound of Teddy's barking. His pack felt heavier and heavier. He held it up with his arms and kept going. Suddenly Jack heard Annie calling him. Jack stopped. Here, here, here. We are here, he shouted. Come on, follow us. Annie appeared through the haze of the hot smoke. She was coughing. Tears streamed from her eyes. She was carrying the koala. Come on, Jack cried. Follow Teddy. Arf, arf, Jack and Annie carried Joy and the koala. They followed Teddy's barking through the smoky fire-filled forest. Finally, they came to a giant rock. Arf, arf. Teddy was standing on a ledge. Behind him was the mouth of a cave. Through the smoke, Jack could barely see the little dog. Teddy barked again, then vanished inside the cave. Follow him, said Annie. Chapter 6. Hand to hand. Jack and Annie climbed onto the rock ledge and stepped into the cave. The air inside was cleaner and cooler than the air outside. I can't see anything, said Jack. He patted the head of the baby kangaroo. Me neither, said Annie. Arf, arf, I guess we'll have to follow Teddy's bark, said Annie. Let's hold hands. She held out a free hand to Jack. Jack took it. Then he put his other hand out, touched the wall. The joy moved in his pack. Jack and Annie walked into the darkness. Arf, Teddy kept barking, leading them on. Arf, 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 arf. Suddenly, Jack felt something thump against his leg. He stopped and gasped. What is it? Said Annie. Arf, it was Teddy. His tail was wagging and hitting Jack's leg. What is it, boy? Jack asked him. Teddy let out a howl. As he followed, an amazing thing happened. A white line began to glow in the air. The glowing line grew until it looked like a giant snake. Then glowing handprints appeared below the snake. Jack felt Annie squeeze his hand. I think it's painted on the wall, she said. But what is it? Whispered Jack. I don't know, said Annie. She let go of Jack and put her hand inside one of the painted handprints. Jack did the same. Despite the glowing painting, the rock felt smooth and cool. It almost seemed to breathe. Ghost-like whistling sound came through the darkness. Then a loud boom. What's that? Jack quickly took his hand off the wall. The boom came again. It sounded like thunder, said Annie. Arf, arf, Teddy is leaving, said Annie. She grabbed Jack's hand. They turned back the way they had come and followed Teddy's barking again. Off they followed the little dog until they saw a flash of light. Lightning, said Annie. Lightning and thunder. We're at the front of the cave. Yay! Annie pulled Jack toward the mouth of the cave and out into a pouring rain. Chapter 7. Rain, rain, rain. Rain fell on Jack's head and on Joey's head. Rain fell on Annie's head and on Teddy's head and on the koala's head. Annie opened her mouth and drank the rainwater. Jack did the same. The water tasted better than any water he had ever drunk. The end.